Hi everybody, Richard Seller, back with you for another video blog slash update. Wanted to talk a little bit about the hiring of an employment lawyer today because I think it's an important topic. The internet has become the ultimate equalizer in terms of consumer confusion. Here's what I mean. Anybody can put up a fancy website these days that looks really polished and beautiful, and that can convince a consumer that simply because the way an employment lawyer's website looks, that they should be hiring that employment lawyer. Now, we have a fancy website, and I'll tell you that if you are making a decision based on how a website looks for purposes of protecting your legal interest in the workplace, that's not a good criteria. Um, so what I mean by the internet becoming the ultimate equalizer is it's become so difficult to make a choice based on all these websites that kind of all look the same, that all sort of promise you the same thing, that the consumer needs to become more educated in terms of what should you be asking your potential employment lawyer to make sure he or she is the most qualified law firm for you. And the first question I think every client should ask is, have you handled this type of case before? You would be amazed that some employment lawyers have never handled this type of case, and here's why. Employment law has become what I'll refer to as a sexy practice area over the last couple of years. You hear about large class actions or big trial verdict claims where lawyers who have been practicing in other areas want to get in on the employment law craze. So you'll see car accident lawyers, for example, and that's their specialty, advertising employment law on their website because they want to get in on the employment law craze. Well, before you know it, you've got a car crash lawyer representing you in a wrongful termination case, and they're getting beat up by the federal judges, and they're getting up by the experienced defense lawyers on the other side of the table. So the first question you need to ask is, have you handled this type of claim before? And the next question is, how many times have you handled this type of case? And if the answer is not to your satisfaction, when I say this, I mean it, run, don't walk to the next lawyer, okay? The next question you should be asking is, what is my claim worth? You're getting ready to pursue a legal situation against a former employer. You don't want to find out at the end of it that your claim is worth $9 for whatever legal reasons, and now you've spent 2 years of your life and have exposed yourself to potential risk if you lose on a case. You want to find out what your case is potentially worth. Now, can a lawyer tell you for certainty what could happen, meaning in terms of damages and what will happen? No. But your lawyer should be able to calculate the type of damages you may potentially be owed and give you a range for where the case could go if you win all the way to verdict, or what the settlement value is, meaning present day value if the employer wants to resolve your case with you. Okay, so that's, issue 2. Issue 3, ask your lawyer if they've ever taken an employment case to trial. You will be amazed at the answer. There are so many employment law firms out there that will settle your case because they're scared to go to the courtroom. There's a big firm who I won't mention because that's not our style and what we do, who has become known as the settle for whatever we can get employment lawyers. And what they do is they take your case, they charge you some money, they send a letter on your behalf, and whatever the employer is willing to offer, whether it's good or bad, everybody knows they're not taking the case to court. So there's no oomph behind saying, hey, we're going to sue you if you don't do the right thing, because the defense lawyers all know that this firm will fold and get rid of the client before having to go to court. Ask how many lawyers in the firm have taken a case to trial. Trial's the end game here if the case isn't going to settle, and your lawyer better not be scared to go to trial, and your lawyer better have experience. There's nothing worse than walking into a courtroom for the very first time with your lawyer next to you and finding out that this is their first time at the rodeo. That's generally not going to end well, okay? So those are a couple of tips that I would definitely recommend you asking. You should definitely ask about how your case is going to be handled. Will you be handling the case yourself, or is there a team that works on the cases? For example, at our firm, We work as a team on all of the cases. We may have some of the more junior lawyers do some of the workup, but when that case is going to trial, when that case is going to a significant phase of the litigation, when those negotiations are ongoing, you better have somebody at a partner level either overseeing those negotiations or putting in their input to make sure that the right decisions are being made by the client. And you'd be amazed that some firms out there will blindly turn your file over to a first-year associate. Folks, this is your life and your livelihood, okay? When you need to go for a surgery, are you going to a doctor who's just got out of med school, or do you want the guy or gal who's been doing this for years, okay? One last point. The issue of fees always comes up in dealing with the hiring of an employment lawyer. Some firms charge higher percentages, some firms charge lower percentages. I was always taught there's two things that you don't negotiate, or three people you don't negotiate with. A butcher, a doctor, and a lawyer. And I say that with a smile on my face. Of course, clients are always welcome to talk about a fee structure to see if there's something more beneficial for them. That's not a problem. But you get what you pay for in this world of employment law, folks. And if you see somebody bargain shopping just to get the client or get you in the door at 25%, be very careful. You get what you pay for, okay? So that's just a couple of tips I wanted to share with you guys on the hiring of an employment lawyer. We do have an article on our website at www.floridaovertimelawyer.com where I go in more detail about some other questions you should be asking. But if you ever need anything, email me directly, richard@floridaovertimelawyer.com. I love hearing from you guys. I love providing you with free guidance if we can do it, and answering questions. If you have a problem in your workplace, it may turn into a case that we can help with. So we're here for you. I hope you guys are doing your due diligence before hiring a lawyer, and ask the questions that you need to be asking. You'd look under the hood of a car before buying it, wouldn't you? Do the same with your lawyer. Have a great day. Summer's coming. Stay safe out there. Be well.